I had $100 on every single underdog. How do you think I performed? At the end of it, this was a social experiment. I'll do it again. I don't give a fuck. But immediately, we had the underdog. Rafael Cerquera versus Modestus Bakauskas. I had money on Rafael Cerquera. He looked good. Looked decent. Then, shortly after, got knocked out in the first round. Which was kind of the theme. Like, the underdog showed some promise early on, but then eventually were succumbed to better fighters. Next up, Eric Makoniko versus Ruzaboyev. This guy had no chance whatsoever. He looked out of the water, like way out of his league in the first round. Again, $100 on this guy. I knew he was going to lose. The fact that I couldn't find a picture of him, except for one with his shoulder just bludgeoning uncontrollably. Obviously, that's some sort of mistake, but that looks hideous. Yeah, Ruzaboyev destroyed him in the second round, just finished him off completely. And by the way, finishes was the big selling point of this card. It was massively, massively exciting until the ending, where it is just finished for me. And I want to kill myself. Just kidding, I don't actually want to. And I neither should to anyone else. Loses here. Now, Austin Vanderford versus a guy whose last name ends with a V. Vanderford is the husband of Paige Van Zandt. He got the win. He got the knockout in the second round. Looked good. Brutal knockout. Again, the card was really fun to watch. But if you look... Listen, I was scared that he was going to do a... underdogs on this card, where basically he looks good but then eventually gets finished. But for the most part, he looked pretty good and overall got the job done. So now we're up, right? $202. So the return on this guy was nothing, but overall we're up now. So things are looking good, things are looking up. We go on to Ricky Simone. So back to back, we get back-to-back wins from underdogs. Ricky Simone, Blonde Simone, gets the knockout on the feet against Javid Basharat in the first round. Again, looked amazing. It was another brutal knockout, by the way. Right now, we're in a massive streak of just brutal finishes. Out cold goes Basharat, and Ricky Simone, a big underdog, 3-1, gets the job done. And now we're back on track. We're looking good. But then we get the back-to-back of Nick Klein, this motherfucker over here, against Abdul Malik. Mansour Abdul Malik was looking really good. In fact, my guy over here in the first round rocks Abdul Malik and wins the first round overall. Mixes in the grappling, the wrestling, but for some reason, the stupidity of MMA fighters, if you are winning on the feet and you're a good grappler, means you must continue to go to grappling, because that's how you win fights. That's all you know. Eventually, Nick Klein got pushed to the ground like a big old woman's lady part, and then just got finished, just got taken out from there. Bang, 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 just ground and pound. He tried to recover, couldn't do it, got finished. Again, if he had won, it would have been a huge profitable night for me, but he doesn't. So he just dies instead. Andre Fili versus Milquezca Costa. Andre Fili, another underdog who was absolutely out of his mind, retarded. I mean, dumb in this fight, because Andre Fili, for the most part, was looking not the best on the feet, don't get me wrong. Costa wasn't looking the greatest either. Like, it was a fairly even fight with Costa winning it. Eventually, Andre Fili gets down Costa, literally takes him down. And you might be thinking, oh my god, that's when Costa snatched up the guillotine. Nope. Andre Fili's head was out and about in the free world, catching a cold breeze on the back of his neck. But then all of a sudden, for some reason, he decides, you know what, I actually don't like winning fights. And Costa's just, from his back, just goes, look, let me just snatch that baby up. And he snatches it up, and eventually, Fili taps out. Completely pathetic, I can't believe it. It was just such a low-level move. Andre Fili is a fun fighter on prelims. Keep him on prelims. He will never get a big contract, and he shouldn't, because he's not good enough. And I had money on this guy. It was 50-50 when I put money on him. I was like, okay, I'll put money on Andre Fili. Eventually, he became the underdog, so good for me. I guess I predicted that, but terrible fighter. Ion Kutalaba versus Ibo Aslan. Insanely fun exchange these two had. Like, literally, no skill, head down, mouth guard shut, bitten down on, I should say more like, and they just brawled it out, just completely brawled it out. Eventually, Ion Kutalaba took down Ibo Aslan, was throwing some ground and pound, but then eventually got the head and arm triangle choke, finished him off. Amazing, an underdog, not the biggest one. Oh, unfortunately, the biggest underdogs didn't really get wins on this card, but again, we're winning here. Like, underdogs are getting wins here and there. Next up, Julius Walker versus Alonzo Manifield. Now, this was a fight that I did get wrong, but I do bet on Nedsbet. And Nedsbet, if you have on Nedsbet, if on Nedsbet, you have money on a fighter that loses by a split decision, they pay you out as a winner. So in this case, on this untalented, ungodly, terrible fight, where both of them were just gassed out after the first round. After the first round, you could make the argument Julius Walker won the first round because he rocked Alonzo Manyfield, but then Manyfield came back and rocked him later on in the round. I get it. Second and third rounds come around. They can both go either way, to be honest with you. They're both, but it just looked like Manyfield was doing more. Like, he had just the bigger explosive movements, and for some reason Julius Walker, every time anything would land on his guard, even because most of them would land on his guard, he would just go like, what the fuck are you doing, my guy? But anyway, that was the game plan for Julius Walker, just bouncing around. Eventually I thought he did enough potentially to win just because of the volume of his striking. I just don't think Manyfield was going to finish him, but still. Second and third round, I would have gone for Julius Walker. Maybe even the first and the third round, but whatever. All three rounds were close. I can't definitively say either of them won. Third round comes around. Another one of those rounds where Manyfield is doing well, but for some reason, Julius Walker just will not let go of a freaking takedown attempt. It made no sense why he kept going forward. He was doing alright on the feet, but then eventually Manyfield only trained, by the way, wrestling theory and defense in this fight, because after the first round, he had nothing either. Anyway, Julius Walker was the pick, but the split decision does give me the win here. If you didn't know about this beforehand, too bad. Bedwood Nets Bet in Australia. Amazing app. It will pay you out in a split decision on the main card as the winner on your first $250. Fuck it. Melsik versus Gene Silva. Gene Silva, my god, the aura this man has is insane. Like, this picture does not do him any justice whatsoever. He's far more handsome than this. No homo. None of that stuff. He's just better looking than what this picture would imply. He finishes him. He was pandering to the crowd a bit too much. I was like, oh my god, why is he doing this? He looks around to the crowd, showboats for a second, looks back at Melsik and just finishes him with a 1-2. The ref's like, because Melsik was like, had his hands on his face, like towards the end of the round, he was like, and Gene Silva was like, ref, you gonna stop this fight? No? Okay, let me just unload a little bit more on him. It was basically a walk-off. The ref stops the fight. Gene Silva, massive aura. I knew I would lose this one, I can't lie to you, but as the rules be, had to do it to him. Rob Font versus Gene Matsumoto. Now, this is another fight. Goes to a split decision, but in this case, I do think they got it right. Gene Matsumoto won the first round, right? Listen, Rob Font looked good with his striking on the feet, but even then, I think Rob Font definitely did more damage than Gene Matsumoto did. In my opinion, in basically every single round. Gene Matsumoto got him down, controlled him for a little bit, but that was it. He just controlled him. Like, he was overpowering Rob Font to such an extreme extent to the point where Rob Font literally could do nothing. I swear to God, he had no power. He wanted to stop Gene Matsumoto from taking him down, couldn't do nothing about it. Anyway, Rob Font was doing more damage on the feet, definitely. The second round comes around, gets taken down for the most part, can't really do nothing, whatever. But he was still winning on the feet. That's the thing you gotta remember. Like, there was more damage being done from Rob Font than Gene Matsumoto, despite the total amount of time in the fight where Matsumoto was winning. The third round comes around and Rob Font just goes at him. Like, Matsumoto was too exhausted at this point to really be going for any takedowns, and then Rob Font just unloads, pieces him up, completely just obliterates him. And yeah, wins the third round, the most decisive round by far. I think Rob Font did enough to win. With a split decision, it wouldn't be the worst robbery to have Gene Matsumoto win, but Rob Font got it done, and I had money on him. Good job. This is where the Underdog's winning streak ends. Brendan Allen throws the fight. Just kidding, he doesn't. But against Anthony Hernandez, he basically throws the fight in the third round. The first round was Brendan Allen's round. He was winning on the feet, got taken down, eventually reversed it, and just did massive, massive damage to Anthony Hernandez. And then Anthony Hernandez, though, got a dog in him. Because Brendan Allen in the second round was not doing nothing of value. And I say nothing of value with nothing of value. Got taken down, held there, tried to reverse it, nothing happened. Anthony Hernandez didn't do any big damage. Brendan Allen just survived, but there was some good grappling exchanges. Listen, every now and then Anthony Hernandez would like almost lock in the choke, but then Brendan would get out of it. But sometimes Brendan Allen would almost lock in a choke, and then Anthony Hernandez would get out of it. It was what it was, but eventually Brendan Allen, way too exhausted after the second round. The third round was winning on the feet, but then doesn't even try to stuff the takedown. Like, immediately he gets taken down. Or doesn't even get taken down, gets pushed against the cage, but he's not fighting nothing. He's not trying to get out of that situation. He's just exhausted, tired. Eventually there's some exchanges that happen, and Allen actually gets the upper hand on Hernandez for like a split, just for a split second. It's way too exhausted to capitalize. Gets taken out again. Nothing happens, and then he just loses it all. Whatever. And then this is the main event. I don't know if I should make a video on this by itself, but basically for the most part, Henry Cejudo was getting outstruck. The first round, he got completely outstruck in my opinion. Absolutely outstruck. The strike numbers were a bit more far apart than I would have liked them to be, because I swear they were just making them up, but you could tell bigger, longer, rangier, more powerful was Song Yadong. He was just getting the better of Cejudo, and also there was some hope for Cejudo where he gave a leg kick to Song Yadong where like it looked like his leg just completely buckled, drug on the floor. Not drugs, but like just dragged on the floor. Looked like the preliminary nerve kick was kicked, but turns out it wasn't, and Song Yadong was fine after that one round. I think Song Yadong put it on him in the first round, got the better of him. And yeah, won the first round. But then the second round comes around, and I think Cejudo had a much better time in this round. Was landing far more clean shots to Song Yadong. So overall, I think he was probably, you know... I thought he won the second round, but it's still close enough to the point where you can't... Like, at this point, by the way, Cejudo's shot 2 takedowns. Can't get down the bigger Song Yadong. I don't know what the game plan was. Maybe... I don't know. Song Yadong was looking very fast, very crisp, very, like, I think he was just scared of the entry, like, the exchange in the entry, but whatever. He couldn't really... Cejudo couldn't really fight in the clinch in this fight. You know, like, every time he would try to, Song Yadong was very quick, very fast. Was cracking him open, but whatever. Song Yadong. Cejudo, after the second round, loses the second round. Then we get to the third round. No, sorry. Cejudo wins the second round, only to lose the third round. Because I think he landed the crisper shots in the second round. In the third round, however, he was getting pieced up. Eventually, there's a low blow that might not have been a low blow. I thought it was, but I think other people would disagree. I think enough of his foot landed on his crotch. Like, you gotta realize, your penis is a big penis, right? Like, everyone's got big balls and all that stuff hanging up. It's not like this much of an entry point. Like, if you hit just this specific area, sometimes, you know, like, if you hit the side, like, listen, like, realistically, just hitting the side just over here, right? You can't really see, but just hitting the side here, it will graze past your cock before it hits the side of your groin. It's still gonna hurt your groin, still a groin strike, whatever. But then the eye poke happens, and I had 2 ways of thinking about it. First of all, I thought Henry Cejudo should be taking the full 5 minutes. Everyone should do that. Smart thing to do from Cejudo, but apparently, basically, he gets eye poked brutally by Song Yadong. The doctor's called in and everything, and and Cejudo, for some reason, decides to take the full 5 minutes. I think it's very smart to do. But for some reason, he decides not to tell the doctor that he can't see at all. He's taking the full 5 minutes. Minute 16 left on the round. He was losing the round before that. The round starts, gets pieced the hell up. And yeah, Song Yadong just goes crazy on him in the last bit. Apparently, Cejudo says he couldn't see. I believe him. He wasn't doing nothing in that last hit. If you would think Cejudo got his energy back, but you know, was doing nothing in that last exchange. And then in the stool, he says, bring a doctor back in. I can't see, you know, all this good stuff. And then, if you couldn't see, why not just do it during the time period that you were given? Just don't come back to fight after the 5 minutes, my guy. Would have got me a refund on my money. And I would have made more money in this card than I initially did, but whatever. Yeah, that was Cejudo for you. After the third round. Yeah, says he can't see. Doctor comes in, says can't see. The ref for some reason like, I'll start the 4th round, and then... The ref had a fucking multi on this, by the way. He had a multi. He was like, I'll start at the 4th round, and then I'll call timeout, and the doctor can say no. The ref had money on this. What a fucking loser that referee must be. Just kidding. I'm just mad at everyone because I lost money, but still, Cejudo. Weak sauce. I do think there's other fighters that would have kept fighting through it. By the way, I'm going to show you. Money on Cejudo. Didn't come through. There's fighters that would have kept fighting through, not being able to see, but I think Cejudo is just a smarter fighter. Like, he would not want concussive KO damage. You know what I mean? Just because he wants to go out there on his shield. But whatever, Cejudo loses. I mean, 2 years since he came back. Not 2 years since he left. 2 years since he came back to fight Aljamain. What do you expect? Anyway, moving on. This is what you came to see. In this event, you're just betting $100 on every underdog. I made $7. My overall profit since UFC France are $2,619.96. So overall, as you can see, I am still up infinitely. But again, as you can see, not the best. Not the best night, but we'll rebound. We'll come back from this eventually, I'm sure. But that's what happened tonight. Like, share, and subscribe. 240 subscribers. Give me 250, please. And that'd be quite nice. Like the video. That'd be cool. I'll see you next time. Bye.